Hello, my name is Mary, and today I will share a story with you about how the most important thing to me was stolen: my phone. I know you might be thinking I'm a diva who can't live without her precious phone, but let me assure you that that's not the case. A few years ago, I lost both of my parents in a car accident. It happened on our way to my 18th birthday party. My mom had bought me balloons, and when I slightly opened the window, the wind carried the balloon right into my dad's face. My dad couldn't see the road clearly, and that's what caused the accident. The next day, I woke up in hospital to the sad news of my parents' death. I couldn't believe how someone's life could change 180 degrees all of a sudden. And to make it all worse, I had turned 18 before my parents passed away, so I had no other option but to live all by myself. I still went to school because I had a few months left before I graduated, and things were getting pretty tough because I was completely broke. What about my parents' money? Well, everything was transferred to the other family that was involved in the accident. You see, on top of dealing with my grief, the family whose car had crashed in the accident sued me for damages, and I ended up paying them compensation money after signing a settlement contract because Dad did not have car insurance. Thankfully, I still owned our house and didn't have to pay any rent, but I realized I had to find a job to keep food on my table. But my finals were coming up and I needed to study to get my diploma, so finding a part-time job was not easy. I applied at every place I knew, but they only needed full-time workers. I tried everywhere: malls, streets, restaurants, but no one accepted me for a job. One day, I was walking home from school, and I felt really hungry, so I went into a convenience store to buy some food. As I started eating, I heard the boss yelling at the worker, and then she fired her. So I asked that boss if they needed workers by any chance, and she said yes. And that's how I started my first job. I was happy at first, but I realized later that my salary only covered the food and basic expenses, and on top of that, I had no time left to study. While everyone my age was excited about buying the new iPhone, I had to use an old broken one my parents had bought me. I also wore my dead mother's clothes because I literally had no money. One day at school, the teacher gave us a group assignment to work on, and I ended up in a group of 5. We decided that each time we'll meet at a different house so it would be fair to everyone, and I accepted that, even though I live alone and don't even have snacks to offer them. The first meeting was at Sarah's house. Her parents were so rich. When I walked into their house, I thought I was in some museum. My parents used to have money, but they weren't that rich. As we were walking up to Sarah's room, I was so curious about the place, but too shy to ask for a house tour. So when everyone was working on the school project, I said that I needed to use the bathroom and left her room. No one seemed to bother. I started to explore the house. There were so many rooms, and I had to check them out one by one. When I walked into her parents' bedroom, I saw a paper on the side of the bed and saw a blank document with a username and password on it. I couldn't stop myself. I snapped a photo of it. I really needed the money. I was shaking but excited at the same time. Maybe I can finally live like others. If I take a few $1,000s, no one will notice, right? I mean, they are so rich. I felt so guilty, so I told my friends I had to go home. When I got home, I decided to try and transfer the money to a post office near me. And guess what? It worked. First, I transferred $1,000. Then I waited a week and decided to see if anyone would notice anything. I became close friends with Sarah just to make sure I know if anyone notices the missing money. 2 weeks passed, but no one noticed anything. I took $2,000 this time, and once again, no one noticed. I started taking a few $1,000s on a regular basis, and soon enough, I was able to afford a new car. So I got myself a fancy pink car. I did a makeover to my house decor because it reminded me of my miserable past. A while later, we had another meeting for our school project, but this time we met at Jackie's house. I would have never thought that Jackie was from a rich family as well. She looks like a very simple girl. I felt like it was a call from God to take another house tour by myself, and maybe I could find some money there too. I couldn't believe my eyes. On the kitchen's table here was cash and once again a credit number with passwords. Who keeps their passwords on the table like that? I couldn't believe how stupid rich people were. I snapped a picture of the passwords and took the cash they left. $700 in cash. What? This time I stayed to avoid looking suspicious. And suddenly, as we were working on the project, Jaden asked, "Where do you get all your money from, Mary? Even my parents can't afford to buy me a brand new car like yours." I answered with a shaky voice that my parents had left me all they had, and that I had decided to enjoy spending it to get my mind off what happened. They all looked at me and smiled, and we continued working on the project. When I got home, I transferred myself some more money to the same nameless post office account. I kept doing that for a while, and I got so rich that I didn't even need my diploma anymore. One evening, Jaden, Sarah, Melissa, and I went to a party their mutual friend was throwing, and I have to tell you, we had so much fun. Loud music, drinks, hot guys, and games. I was so excited that I finally felt some hope in life since my parents' death. I woke up the next morning cuddling with a very cute guy. Everything felt like a dream. I got up and there were people sleeping everywhere, and I realized how precious the years of youth were. I left my phone number written on the guy's hand and got up and left. But when I arrived home, I realized my phone wasn't on me. I rushed back to the party house and looked everywhere, but I couldn't find anything. That handsome guy woke up and saw me panicking. "Where were you, beautiful? I've been looking for you, and all you left me is a phone number," he said. "Sorry, I need to find my phone. It's an emergency," I replied. I was checking everywhere, but nothing. Literally nothing. That handsome guy said he'll call my phone so that we can hear where it is, but my phone was turned off. I knew something was weird because my battery is always full. Plus, I had a charging case on it. There's no way the battery died. I started panicking and couldn't breathe properly. I told him to do me a favor and call the guests one by one. "Relax, it's just a phone and you have enough money to buy another one," he said. No, I need this one. If I don't get it back, my life will turn into hell." He didn't ask any more questions and just helped me search for it. He called all the guests, but no one saw the phone. I made an announcement that whoever gives me back my phone will get $10,000, but that didn't help. When Jaden, Sarah, and Melissa woke up, they started searching with me. They tried to calm me down by telling me that I can easily afford a new one. I knew everyone thought that I was behaving in a weird way. It was just an old phone after all. So I went home and cried my eyes out of fear and guilt. If anyone finds out about that stolen money, I will end up in jail. I bought myself a new phone and decided to try and forget about the phone. Hopefully the person who stole it will fail to open it and just throw it away. But then it hit me. Not only had I lost the phone, but I lost the money too. Where will I get money from now since all the account info and passwords were in it? I decided to visit my rich friends again, hoping that I might find some money here and there. I went back to Sarah's house. I pretended to feel dizzy so that she'd let me stay over, and that's what happened. I stayed over at her house. We watched a movie and painted our nails, and then Sarah fell asleep. I got up and went to her parents' room. Her parents were deep asleep, so I sneaked in quietly, and I managed to get to her father's side of the bed where I found that paper that I saw earlier. I took a picture of it and went back to sleep. The next morning, I woke up to a loud sound of sirens. I was so confused when I realized it's the police. The sound was so close to Sarah's house that it started to freak me out. The police walked in and dragged me right out of bed. "What's happening, Sarah?" I asked her as the police were walking me out, telling me I was under arrest for robbing 2 families. I saw Jaden and his family standing there. Jaden had my old phone in his hand. "Looking for this?" he asked. I was so terrified that I couldn't speak or cry. My life was ruined. They had known all along that I stole their money, so they kept putting the passwords right in front of me as a trap to catch footage of me stealing the money. They also had hidden cameras everywhere after the first time I stole. The officers took me to the police station and told me I have the right to get a lawyer, but I had no idea what to do next. I got a lawyer and told him everything I went through. He felt sorry for me and tried to get me a reduced sentence. And he said while I'm in jail, he'll try to win back the money I lost after my parents' death. He explained that if he was my lawyer back then, none of this would have happened. Also, that my parents' accident was not my fault and I shouldn't have paid anything for it. I spent a few years in prison, and my lawyer visited me on a regular basis. He brought me homemade food his mother prepared, and I started to have feelings for him. In a dark world where I have no one left and where everyone hates me, he gave me a chance to show the good side of me. Every day in prison, I waited for Thursday to come so he can visit me, and he did not miss a day. He always came to cheer me up with good news. I'm 24 now, and I live with this amazing person who got me out of my mess. His name is Jacob, and now we're married. I didn't get my diploma after all, but at least I got a warm home. We moved town so I can start a new life there. Jaden and Sarah's families got all their money back, and I got mine back. The prison was not a fun experience, and I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy, but I'm glad it's all over now, and I can live happily ever after with my Prince Charming. What do you think of my story? Please share your comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more.